It's a pleasure to meet you. It's really not every day that I have someone as influential as you on my channel, so it really...
Although I care about...
Yeah, so I think it would be good to start talking about your new book. You included a chapter on the topic of animal ethics, which is what interests me mostly.
Well, of course, I didn't call it that.
It seems that people can kind of
often... Wait, it might feel that way? Who do you think nature cares more about? And I leave it there. Just think about that. Okay, now that we're talking about plants, I say to myself, okay, imagine an alien.
So sorry, can I comment a few things on the mouse? Because I think that's I agree with what you're saying, and I think this is
by the way, just a quick point.
So one of the things that I think's cool about this example is that it highlights the romanticization and idealization we have with nature as well. I think we often see like nature as being this kind of rosy, wonderful place to live, when actually it's like very brutal for a lot of animals. And what I think is really important
brutal for plant life too. I mean, it's brutal for all life. Yes.
This thinking of the bigger picture and the knock-on effects of our actions, and not just the direct effect that is in front of us. I think maybe I'm just trying to think about like kind of vegans and animal advocates listening to this, and one place where they might feel frustrated is that like they could say, okay, you're right. People who are trying to avoid directly harming the mouse are missing the point. But we should also, it seems maybe unfair not to mention the fact that the vast majority of people seem to be missing a more obvious moral atrocity, which is our treatment of farmed animals, chickens, pigs, and cows that we just kind of ignore.
Okay, hold on. I'm only talking about people who are saving mice in their basement.
I suppose on the point about the trees.
Mouse, then you can change the subject. Are we done with the mouse and the tree? Because it's that sequence from the mouse to the tree that got me to the sentient alien, okay, plant alien. Yeah. And so So do you want to still say something, or should I continue with the sentient plant alien?
Let's go to the sentient alien.
By the way, in the United States, we invented a term.
Well, you're assuming that the alien...
So I said the plants were sentient in that they had thoughts and things. Yes, I did say it.
My thinking is that when it comes to ethical questions, the key perspective to take is, what if it were me? What if I was in that perspective? When it comes to a mouse, if I kick a mouse down the street, it has an interest in not being kicked down the street. The mouse itself cares about whether that's happening. A plant, on the other hand, or a tree, doesn't actually care if it's being chopped down, if it's being kicked. It cares as much as a rock being kicked would, Matt.
Can you pause?
Yeah, so, I see what you're saying. I think that the tree could have instrumental value that affects more sentient beings compared to the mouse. But I do think that the mouse has this inherent value in that they can suffer. What happens to them matters for their own sake, which can't be said for the tree, in my opinion.
It bleeds when you cut it.
As an animal advocate who's often trying to raise awareness about the suffering of farmed animals, I'll often hear people, meat eaters, saying to me, well, you eat plants, you're a plant murderer. And it often feels like these people aren't being genuine, about their concern for the ethical treatment of plants. But they're more, for want of a better term, trolling to try and piss animal advocates off. Is there a sense in which you're trolling here, or are you being serious?
It will try to heal itself. Okay, if you cut it, it'll try to. Yeah. Oh, of course, by all means.
Yeah.
And
so
carrot, by the way, grows in one season. Cow lives many years.
We can use tree. It doesn't actually matter for the point I'm making.
Well, then stick with the tree and the mouse.
But so you have to experience what it's like for the tree or what it's like for the cow. I'm saying you have to choose which one you'd have to go through. Would you rather be what it's like to be a tree being cut down, or experience what it's like for the cow to be skinned?
I don't know, because I'm not a plant, but I'm an animal. In fact, I'm a mammal, just like a cow is.
If you're choosing between the cow being skinned or the tree being cut down, you would save the tree. And I feel like
your argument.
Well, hold on. Nature.
So I'm going to give you a hypothetical to try and deal with that aspect of it, where we say it's like an isolated tree that isn't connected. Maybe it's in my house. It's not connected to the rest of nature, and it's an isolated cow. And we're choosing between skinning the cow or chopping down the isolated tree. So we're dealing just with the intrinsic value, how you value them.
Okay, wait. So you want to change the mouse into a cow?
Yeah, my example was with cows, but we can do it with a mouse. It makes no difference to me. They both.
If it makes no difference, it makes a difference to me. So we should go to the mouse. Now go on.
And do you?
And I said, when you cut a tree, it bleeds. It definitely bleeds.
No, so I don't. It's not like I inherently care about the bleeding of the mouse. What I care about is the experience of the mouse. That like suffering feels bad for the mouse, whereas the tree, as far as we know, is no experience. It is nothing. It is not like anything to be the tree. And I just feel like it's important to acknowledge that there's a huge difference.
That's very biased of you as a human being with a brain and a beating heart.
I also wonder if there's some kind of arbitrariness to what we call nature and what isn't nature, where someone could say that human-built skyscrapers are natural because we are a species who evolved to build them.
I'm in that camp. To me, cities are nature.
Well, it's certainly been a very interesting and engaging conversation. As I said at the start,
And thanks for your points and your perspectives on this. And
so I really enjoy in your writing this tendency you have to zoom out from the human perspective and see things from a different point of view. But I wonder if something that's sometimes missing from your thinking here is a perspective taking that's very important when it comes to ethical questions. And that's asking ourselves, what if it were me? This seems to be the important perspective to take when it comes to morality. And when we do this kind of perspective taking, asking ourselves, what if it were me? It becomes very obvious why vegans and vegetarians are drawing the line at plant life, because as far as we know, it doesn't feel like anything to be a plant, to be a tree. Even if they bleed, that doesn't mean that they're experiencing something. And of course, the same cannot be said for the chickens, pigs, cows, and fish who are
I don't think animals want to die either, by the way, just my point.
Why are you making it about value to the environment?
What we think is consciousness in other animals. That's the species, that's this branch of the tree of life.
Yeah.
By the way, if really smart aliens came, it would be in our interest to convince them that they need us alive.
Dude.
Fuck off, I don't want anything to do with you. Don't ever speak to me again. You're a fucking piece of shit.
Even vegans don't get your weird, stupid wannabe sense of irony here. Who is your audience? Nobody gets these dumb jokes. Dude,